wondered that our schools, what we do at home, and the entire ecosystem that teaches our young produces a lot of nice engineers and many other people that go in our whole society, but not a lot of good entrepreneurs. Why is that so? Right? I have been an entrepreneur 40 plus years. I've worked with hundreds, if not thousands of entrepreneurs, and I've mentored many of them. As a result, this question has haunted me all my adult life. Why we do not produce more entrepreneurs? I think it has something to do our schooling system, how we treat our children at home, and how we treat them in our wider society. So let me take a few examples to illustrate my point. And I hope these examples will connect with your experience that, yes, you think some of these things have impact why people don't turn out to be entrepreneurs. Imagine yourself in a university, and it's about the time when you're about to take exams, right? But in this very unconventional university, the teacher actually doesn't tell you when the exam will be. Neither the teacher tells you what problems you have to solve. And teacher also does not tell you what is the grading or the assessment. Regardless, people start, and then the first student guesses what the teacher wants to be solved, finds the solution, goes to the teacher. Teacher says, fantastic, I'm going to give you 100 points. That guy's happy. The next guy comes, guesses the problem, finds the solution. Teacher goes to teacher, and teacher says, you get 50 points. And the student is going, why? So he's perplexed until he sees the third student. The third student who guesses brings it to the teacher, and teacher says, you get 0. The fourth student, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, all of them get 0. No points for actually guessing the problem and solving the problem. Until the 15th or 16th or the 17th student shows up, and the 15th student has a much better solution than the first guy. And the teacher says, you know what we're going to do? We're going to give you 100 points. And he asks the first student, you know what, I'm going to make you 50 points. And the second student goes from 50 to 0. Imagine you are in a university like that. You'll probably agree with me that if you or your children are in a university like that, or if you're a professor in university, you probably think it's a great chaos. But this is exactly how the real world works. In real world, nobody tells you the problem. In real world, nobody tells you when you have to solve the problem. You have to figure that out. In real world, the first person who solves the problem gets a reward. Maybe the second person gets a reward. For sure, third person gets no reward. Until one day, somebody comes back with a much better system and dethrones the first guy. This system of examination is called fixed effort, fixed reward. It means that if you put in 10 units of work, you get 10 units of reward, regardless of who did it faster, regardless who delivered better quality and in time. So this is one way our schools and our home fail to deliver 3 essential elements of entrepreneurship. Number 1, you have to find out the problem to solve. Our schooling system have the teacher telling you what problem to solve. Number 2, you have to come up with the solution ahead of everybody else. In our schooling system, it doesn't really matter. As long as you solve it in the time allocated, it doesn't matter who's first, second, third. You still get the same point. Never happens in real life. And the third thing, our schooling system doesn't teach you about competition. Even if you're the best, somebody can make you 0 because they are better than you. Let me take another example. When I was young, I had recently learned statistics, percentages, things like that. And I was walking on a footpath, sidewalk, with my father. My father was a very calm, collected person a scientist who would take everything in a very calm fashion. So I was walking on the edge of the road, on the footpath, and sort of balancing myself like that. So my father very calmly said, if you fall over, there is traffic passing by, a car can hit you, you can get hurt, you can get killed. Being a smart aleck, I told my father that, I'm pretty good at balancing myself. So I think it's about 2% chance that I will actually fall over. And even if I did fall over, at the very moment that I will fall over, there's only 2% chance that an actual car will be there to hurt me. So the chances is 0.04%, very proudly. My father said, I probably agree with the numbers, but if it happened to you, it would be 100%. In that one moment, my father gave me a life lesson, how to think of risk. If you're starting a company, a VC will invest in 100 companies, 10, 15, 20 will fail. VC will not worry about it because it's okay. Other companies will make money. But if you are running the company that fails, it's 100% for you. So this is something, actually, I don't believe our schooling system even tries to teach you. The flip part is also true. How do you treat risk? The same problem is with the reward. Imagine in a system where I give you 100 problems to solve or 100 projects to do. What we teach our kids is what I call Newtonian law of effort. What is that law? It says, if I push on something, it will move. So if I work on a project, I should see progress. In reality, on hard problems, when you're trying to solve real hard problems, sales is one such example, fundraising is one such example. If you work on 100 projects, you will be successful only 10 times. Our schooling system will teach you that you are a 90% failure. Is that a correct assessment? Not really. The way we assess this in entrepreneurship is we say, okay, if we were to give these 100 problems to the best person in the world, how well he or she will do. Let's say I find out that person will do 15 projects out of 100. Then my success is not 10 out of 100. My success is 10 out of 15. See that? So I am 66% successful, not 10% successful. So how you measure success in extremely hard things by looking at who is the best and you grade yourself with that person. Our schooling system does not teach you anything like that. We always look at the total problem solved and how well you are doing against that. Let me take a third example. Third example comes from my teacher when I was doing my PhD. I had a professor called Dr. Klarner. Dr. Klarner was a world-famous mathematician, and he solved some very complicated problems, but he was a paraplegic. He was in a wheelchair all his life. And I asked Dr. Klarner, while sitting in this wheelchair, how did you solve all these very complicated math problems? And he told me, Naveed, it's very simple. I found out what I'm not good at. I just don't do those things. In our schools, we teach exactly the opposite. In our homes, we teach exactly the opposite. We tell students to do all things. Let's say you found a student who was very good in chemistry. He still has to go to physics. He still has to do music. He still has to do gym. He has to do everything. We don't take this idea that if somebody is very good at that, just go for it. Because life is all about focus and excellence. But if you look at now, I understand when the people are young, you might like to do that. But as they get older, we should steer them towards excellence and focus. Another thing that we don't teach to our students. The last example I want to give you, I learned from a person that never went to school, ever, never entered a school. He was a mechanic. In a neighborhood I grew up in Karachi, we used to call him Salim Mechanic. That was his name. And I used to, during my summer, work as a mechanic in his garage. And I was 14 or 15 years old at that time. And I noticed that all of us were not really good at fixing cars, but he was really great. But he would never actually fix any cars. He would sit in his office. And I asked him, you're the best mechanic. Why are you not fixing cars? Why are you not helping us? He says, why don't you come to my office and sit down and learn what I do? So I sat in his office one day. So I noticed the first guy that came, and he told Salim mechanic that, look, I want to give you some good news. I'm getting married. A lot of good stuff is happening in my life. And the Salim mechanic says, oh, fantastic. And the guy says, how much? Salim says, 200 rupees. I'm just wondering, 200 rupees? We normally only should charge 20 rupees. The guy very gladly gives 200 rupees. The second guy comes in and says to Salim mechanic that, you know, I've got a good job now and life is good. And how much for the car? And he says, 80 rupees. And I'm wondering about that. The guy gives 80 rupees and goes. The third guy that comes in has some issue in his life where he had some trouble, lost his job, something else. He asked the same question. Salim, how much should I pay for the car? Salim said, 0. So here is this guy charging 3 different people different rates for exactly the same work we did. So at the end of the day, I was bewildered. I asked why you did that. And he says, do you know what business that we are in? Before I could answer, Salim said, you think probably we are in a business of fixing cars. We're not. We are in a business of making people happy. This is a lesson I learned from a person who never ever went to school. Customer orientation, extreme customer orientation. You can look at your schools, you can look at your home. There is nothing that we do to teach people that we should have extreme customer orientation. So unless we teach our students that you must figure out how to find a problem to solve, you must find a solution ahead of everybody else. You must always be aware of competition. You must find out that in order to achieve extreme things, the ratio of success is going to be small, and that is the best you can do. Learn to focus your life on something and be very customer oriented. We are not going to produce more entrepreneurs. This is what we need in our schooling system and at our homes to do. Thank you.